Hello, everyone. Assalamualaikum and greetings to all our listeners. We are back again with another episode of Table Talk, the official podcast of MS Asia, member of Rely on You Tech. Table Talk is a platform for knowledge sharing, inspiration, and actionable takeaways for our great listeners. I'm Amirul, speaking from the Operational Support Office at Malacca, and joining me today is Irdina, who is at the southern regions of Malaysia, our MSDS Johor Center. How are you doing today, Irdina?
Assalamualaikum everyone. Yes, Amirul. It's always a pleasure to connect with our listeners, especially during this joyous month of Shawwal, where families come together to celebrate Hari Raya, exchange duit raya, and indulge in delicious kuih raya. I'm good, by the way, Amirul. How's your raya celebration this year, Amirul?
It was amazing. I went to a lot of houses where I eat delicious foods. So,
Wow.
I mean, it's time filled with joy, laughter, and meaningful connections, right? And speaking of making meaningful connections, we have a very special guest with us today who has played a crucial role in the success of our organization, our very own Andy Peel. But before we dive into our conversation with Andy, let's put a spotlight on MSDS Asia, our company. As a member of Rely on New Tech, we stand as a leading figure in Asia for providing safety training, offering over 150 courses across centers located in Johor, Cherating, Miri, and even Singapore and Thailand. So basically, we cover and is physically present at significant part of Southeast Asia.
Absolutely, Amirul. Our commitment to empowering individuals with essential safety skills is unlimited. Now, without further
Yep.
ado, let me introduce you to our guest for this episode of Table Talk, Mr. Andy Peel. For your information, Mr. Andy holds the position of Director of Training and Operations and has been an integral part of our team for an impressive 16 years, starting back in 2008 at Rely Onutech and MSS Asia. And throughout his tenure, Mr. Andy has played a crucial role in molding our center into the premier safety training it is today.
Indeed, Irdina, his strategic insights and exceptional leadership have been fundamental to the center's success. And we're excited to delve into his insights today. Welcome, Andy. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, thank you, Amaral. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm very well,
Mm,
thank you.
good. Can you tell us where you are joining us from today, Andy?
Well, I'm currently in Thailand, based in Bangkok at the moment.
In Bangkok. So, Andy, having to live there for 16 years, where would be your top recommendation for visitors to visit in Thailand?
Well, it's an interesting question because it's
Mhm.
often asked by many people coming into Thailand. But I
Yep.
would say that every area of Thailand is offering something different. So there's
Mm,
something for everybody, depending on what you like to do. So if we
mm,
say if you want to go and see the best beaches, to my
mm.
mind, and it's a personal opinion, I think Koh Samui offers that. But that doesn't mean to say there are good beaches elsewhere. It's just they probably have the most concentrated coastline of good beaches, exceptional beaches there, and then you've also got great waters on the Andaman Sea,
Ah.
on Phuket, where Phuket is. So that there's some great landscapes, seascapes there as well to explore. And if you're a diver, it's a particularly good place to go, I think.
Basically, you can become a tour guide over there.
Yeah.
But let's not miss about the foods, where it's very famous, you know. Can you tell us, Andy, I mean, what would be the most tried food for everyone, for anyone visiting there?
Well, I think Tom Yam is probably the most
Mm,
obvious one that people should try. You
yeah.
can taste it in other countries like
Mm,
Malaysia,
mm,
but the intensity of the taste is so good, and of course, like any food, you can get a good and a bad meal, but generally, the tom yums that you can get as street
be
food or
amazing
in a
tom yum.
restaurant are good.
That's great. So, I mean, we are also aware that over the past year, you've been busy traveling all across our centers, right? In Miri, Cerating, Johor, Melaka, and KL. From all the different locations you've been in Malaysia, have you been trying different foods? And if so, which ones have been your favorite?
Well, I had to give some thought to this because I say, well, I'll eat anything. It's what my usual answer is when people say, "What would you like?"
Uh-huh.
And so I don't take a great deal of notice of what it's called, but
Mm.
I know that
Mm.
I'm partial to redang, um,
Rendang.
rendang, yeah,
Eh,
nasi lemak. Is it nasi lemak?
yeah, nasi
Yes.
lemak,
And
correct.
I do like tandoori chicken,
Tandoori
which
chicken, of course. Yeah.
in Malacca there is a place that I was taken once, which the tandoori chicken was the best I've ever tasted. It's
Oh,
fantastic.
that's great to know. So basically, if you come to Malacca again, I'll make sure that I'll bring you to a good restaurant for the dish. All right.
Okay, I look forward to it. Yeah, yeah,
All
Don't
right.
forget to bring me to the restaurant with Mr. Andy to Amirul.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
everyone. Let's move on to the first section of the Table Talk session, where we'll delve into Mr. Andy's strategic goal setting process. So, Mr. Andy, I would like to ask you a question. You have been contributing to Run Thailand for more than 16 years since it was established, right?
Yes, yes.
Wow, that's a very long experience. Can you tell us your journey at the organization from 2008 until now? How did you get into this industry and what inspired you to pursue a career in safety training and operations?
Well, before I came to Thailand, I'd been in the industry for some time. Shall we say, trainings industry, because prior to leaving the UK, I was senior lecturer at Southampton Solent University in the maritime faculty, and I was based at the uh, maritime academy there. And before I left, I was in charge of safety training, some of which was what we do today in Rely on New Tech and MSTS. And so all of that experience I took with me when I came out to Asia. And in fact, I had my own business that I started in Asia first, but I continued to keep my hand in by doing freelance work for MSTS. So I came with former MD in April of 2008 when there was nothing at this location. And we talked about how we might design the training center, but I didn't actually start working full time for Reliant New Tech until uh, November of that year.
That's truly inspiring. By the way, as we all know, the centers have achieved several accreditations from OPITO, ranging from both CAABS and more. And that's a really big achievement. So kudos to Mr. Andy and also Ron Thailand team. This is a significant milestone that enhances industry recognition, particularly into offshore industry careers. And additionally, the company also offers an extensive array of high quality nationally and internationally courses. So, Mr. Andy, I would like to ask you, what is your long term vision that you have for MSTS Asia and also RON Thailand? And what are some goals and strategies that you employ to achieve it?
Well, I think first and foremost, we need to maintain our market share. So, what we do with sales and customer service is very important. Not just, when we look at our products, our service is not just about um, delivering of training. It's the whole package from the moment that client phones in and the experience they have from the people who answer the phone, right through to preparation, organising transport and accommodation, when they arrive, how they're looked after by us, and then when they finished, their certification, all the way through to the experience that our clients have with the payment process as well. So That's very, very important, that we need to remain focused on, because it will be easy to focus on other things, and then that side of things is lost. The other thing is that I think it's a very exciting time, because I've been in the industry a long time, but it's a very exciting time for everybody who's involved with Rely on UTech, because we are going through this digital transformation, and there are lots of things happening, as you know, with our digital products. We've
The
rolled out
webinar.
many, yeah, we've rolled out many e-learning courses, and we have some other software applications, and even little things like the student app now is a game changer for what we're
Yeah.
doing, and it gives us great scope for the future. But also on the training side, it gives trainers the opportunity to be more creative in the products that we are developing, whether they be existing courses or new courses that are coming out. We really do need to um, keep a close eye on what's happening with the technology. It may not be ready yet for the cultures in certain parts of the world, but it will get there eventually. It's already on the ground running in Europe, for example, and it won't be too long before it really starts to hit in Asia.
That's a very fantastic vision, Mr. Andy, and I believe that the long-term vision for MSCS Asia and also run Thailand is to be at the forefront of safety training and operations. So, can you share what measures do you take to ensure that the strategic goals are communicated effectively to all levels of the organization?
Well, the other good thing about technology nowadays is how we communicate, because what we're doing now is talking to each other from remotely at a distance. And since COVID-19 pandemic, we've almost fast tracked and accelerated our competency in using these uh, video conference applications like Teams, and we've come in and become quite skillful at using Teams now. And if you look back to before the pandemic, we were not using this sort of application much at all. So that's one of the most effective ways in which I use to communicate to my subordinates, my peers, my superiors, and of course there still is the face-to-face communication that must take place. So we have daily meetings. One of the things that I introduced with Thailand is to have a morning briefing. Actually, it came about by accident, because I was at the time, in terms of managing what was going on, I was trying different ways of getting the message across what we wanted to do, but it wasn't completely successful. But it happened that at the time when I made the change, we had some problems with people turning up for work on time. So I introduced this morning meeting and it's a bit like what they do in some countries like Japan, where they get everybody together and there is a briefing, and everybody is directed at what they need to do and why they need to do it and when they need to do it during the day, and at the same time everybody knows what everybody else is doing, so it adds to that continuity moving forward. And then it's an opportunity for the staff also to feedback if they've got any problems, any issues. And so that's been applied to the other training centres. And it's
Yes.
been probably, in terms of communication, one of the most successful um, changes that we introduced, because we used to have meetings in the evening, but they were never fully successful because people were tired, having done a full day of work,
Yeah.
and wanting to get off home or whatever. But
Yeah.
and that's fine, but it wasn't as good as doing it in the morning when everyone is fresh and alert. Added to that, of course, we've got email. We've got. I don't even use a telephone anymore.
Oh, you
because
don't.
most of the communication we do is via WhatsApp or where we use Line in Thailand a lot, and that's been a game changer for communication because quite often if you'd phoned somebody up and they didn't answer, maybe they were busy in a meeting or
Yep.
training, um, and then you had to remember to phone up a later time.
Indeed.
And those are the sorts of problems that are eradicated now because we have social media where we can leave a message and they will get back to us when they read it. And that's been, and we use that for sharing photographs, sharing files within the organization. And it's free, although we pay for internet service.
Yeah.
Um, Everything else in that respect is free.
Thank you for sharing your insight, Mr. Andy. It's impressive how you prioritize communications to keep everyone on the same page.
Yeah.
Into the crucial aspect of delegation, right? Which is very important in leadership and achieving strategic options, correct? Strategic
Yeah.
objectives. So currently you're holding the position of Director of Training on Operations in MSS Asia and Rely New Tech. So you oversees a team currently with diverse roles ranging from trainers to administrative staff, finance, sales, and support personnel. So it's essential to ensure that each member comprehends their role and contributes effectively to the center's operations. So, in order to keep the training center working like a well oiled machine, how do you delegate tasks and responsibilities among these different roles to ensure efficient training operations?
Well, a starting point is looking at my experiences in the past,
Hmm.
in previous employment, and learning from what I witnessed during those periods, um, and how people were delegating tasks. There were experiences of people delegating um, work without explaining what they wanted done or explaining why they wanted it done. There were experiences where some people would be unable to delegate and so loaded more pressure and more work on themselves, but then
Yep.
nobody else knew what was going on. So those are just a couple of examples which, and of course with reading and courses I've done myself,
Yep.
I've learned that delegation is absolutely essential, but we've got to understand that everybody is different. When you
Yeah.
bring a team together, they've up to that point had different experiences, life experiences, work experiences, academic qualifications. So
Yep.
the speed at which people learn and pick up things is different. So these are all, as a leader, things that you need to be aware of when you're delegating, so that you don't overstretch people, you
Yep.
don't create an imbalance of workload,
Yep.
and that, of course, all the things I mentioned before, when you delegate, it's very important to be clear on what it is you want them to achieve, when you want it to be achieved by, and remembering that at the end of the day, you're there to help them achieve it. So they've got to understand that you're there for the support, but
Yep.
also ensure that they are learning and developing at the same
Yeah.
time.
So yeah, as you mentioned, I do agree. Delegation could also be a learning experience, not only the team members, also for the leaders, right? So when it is done effectively, it could help individuals by giving them opportunities to develop new skills, gain experience, and take ownership of their work, right? So my question for you, Andy, is what are ways that team member can support each other when faced with like a challenging task or project?
Well, I think uh, you've got to create the right culture in your team, your organization, to ensure that everybody is comfortable with each other and has that trust. Um, because without that, it can be very difficult and challenging to get people to work and share how they feel about um, projects. Some tasks they might not agree with, and
Yep.
but not say anything. So it's very important that they feel comfortable with their team, and that's another important skill that the manager leader will have in making sure that everybody is on the same
That's
page and
right.
comfortable with each other, and that it's okay to make mistakes because
Mhm.
we don't learn. In our optimum level unless we are prepared to make mistakes along the way. So it's okay to make mistakes as long as we learn from them and we make those corrections.
So I want to ask also, other than getting the job done from your delegated task, do you have other expectation that you like to foresee from your staff members?
Well, I want them to be comfortable in coming for help. So it's important that I make sure that I'm approachable. And I always say to people, if you need me to help you, just phone me, and that's okay. We can work through it. I
Yep.
need them to make sure that if they are unable to meet deadlines, that
Yep.
they communicate it and come back to me so that we can work something out.
Yep.
What's not okay, and I'm clear with them on, is if they don't say anything, and then we
Yeah.
get to the deadline, and then we have excuses why they've not been able to do it, which are
Yeah.
excuses because they need to understand that there is the help there to achieve things.
Mm. So actually, when I mean, I know like when actually can you know that you have done a good delegation work?
Well, when they've produced the product on time, and they've learnt something, and they feel good about what they've achieved, and so my role would be to make sure that they are rewarded, not in a financial way, that
Yeah.
will come later, but
Yeah.
in terms of the praise that they get, the feedback they get from me is very important.
Feedback that they'll be getting, that means you must give them some praise or some recognitions where they can feel
Yes,
appreciated in the organization.
yes, yes, exactly.
So I want to talk about a bit about our trainers. So most of our trainers are highly experienced professionals, right? So including those experts in their respective field that possess a wide range of skills, and some of them are even among the best in the industries. That's why we would say that we are a highly reputable organization for excellence in providing world-class safety training. Correct? So what are some qualities and attributes do your trainers have during their training deliveries to ensure that the participant is confident and knowledgeable at the end of their training program?
Well, they've got to be although they may be experts in the
Yep.
field, they've also
Mm.
got to understand that the audience in front of them are not them. That they maybe all are learning in different ways at different levels, and it's very easy to impart knowledge, and not appreciate that not all of them may get it. So the skills that they have in the classroom or on practical sessions of checking and verifying understanding, and there are lots of skills that they can use to bring them together and be more engaged to make the learning experience more exciting than some dry lecture type approach. So it's got to be student centered or learner centered activities as much as possible that they must possess to be good trainers. And so it's not just about subject knowledge; it's how
Yeah.
they manage the learning experience.
So it goes back to the learning experience that they have, and in that way, they can expand themselves and possess more skills. Correct?
Yeah, yes, and,
Mm.
and and that's one of the things we're trying to improve upon. It's not perfect because we're all human
Yeah,
beings, we all
of
make
course.
mistakes, but
Yeah.
um, if you compare it with some other training provider where the trainer may be just one step ahead of the learners,
Yeah.
but they have a presentation that they're looking at, um, and reading off what's on the presentation is bad practice, and anybody can do that. Anybody can go in on YouTube and learn things rather than sit in the classroom. So uh, the whole point about a classroom is or face-to-face learning experiences. It's got to be interactive and engaging.
Yeah,
Um,
it should be.
and there's got to be as much um, experiential learning as possible, so they get to experience things rather than being told something. That's what we have an opportunity to do more than our competitors with the
Yeah,
digital transformation and the other
right.
applications that we have available.
Understand on the part. So my last question for you, Andy, which would be helpful for the listeners, what advice would you give to the employees who aspire to grow into leadership roles and contribute to the overall operational and strategic goals?
Well, I think for everybody might have a an ambition to do something in their career, and we have different expectations,
Yeah,
and that's for a variety of reasons. But the thing is, I would say that you can do anything you want in your life, in your career.
yeah,
You spend most of your life at work, I would say, a big chunk of it anyway,
yeah,
and therefore you're only in this world once. Why not go for it and
yeah,
be confident and believe in yourself, and you can achieve great things.
yeah, I understand. We should be brave sometimes to try new things.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So
Mm,
it's getting to the point of being a good leader is looking and learning from others, and
mm,
listening to other people,
mm-hmm,
and being humble,
mm-hmm,
being a good communicator, being a good administrator, um, and ultimately, if you want to become a manager or a leader,
yeah,
remember that you're providing a service to your, in a sense, to your subordinates. You're there to
yeah.
help them. You're not
It's
there
your
to
job to
be
help them.
you're not there to be superior and tell them what to do. That's not how it works.
Mm, all right, understand. Thank you, Andy, for sharing the valuable insight that you have, and I hope that the advice that you give will help others to know. How they can start in leading and even start to become a good leader. Everyone have their own leadership traits. It's how you polish it, correct?
Sure.
So, all right. Um, Before we wrap up, is there anything else you like to add or share with our listeners?
No, well, I'm really appreciate
Yeah,
from my side all the hard work that everyone is doing. We're going on a roller coaster ride at the moment because of all the
yeah.
changes that are taking place, and I really appreciate all the hard work that everybody's putting in to trying to make this all work for us in Asia. And
Mm,
let's come into work happy every day, and
yeah.
that's the most important thing.
Yeah, we have to be happy at all times. Happiness make great things happen.
Yes,
All
yes.
right. So before we conclude, let's have a bit of fun in the podcast with a rapid fire question for you, Andy. So we'll throw
Okay.
6 quick questions your way, and you have to quickly answer the question. Shall we?
Well, all right.
All right. So the first question: if you could eat only one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Pizza.
Pizza. Wow, interesting. So if you could time travel, would you go to the past or to the future?
I'll go to the past.
Okay. So you would like to change some things, is it, from the past?
Yes.
All right. If you were a superhero, what would your superpower be?
Read people's minds.
Wow. Right. So fourth question. If you could have a dinner with any artist, who would it be?
Oh, any artist? You
Any
mean
artist?
a musician or any type of artist
Yeah,
or
anyone. A celebrity or anyone that you maybe
a
admire.
celebrity? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Ricky Gervais.
Oh, Ricky Gervais is very interesting. All right, if you could master any skill instantly, what would it be?
So skill, I
Yeah.
think probably cooking.
Ah, that's interesting. I would like to be good at cooking too.
Yeah.
So, last question: if you were stranded on a desert island, what three things would you want to have with you?
I would like
Three things.
my
What?
smartphone, a wireless connection.
There isn't any
Quite
Wi-Fi, Andy.
Okay.
So,
No, seriously, I would
uh,
like tools,
okay, stools to sit down.
toolbox. Yeah.
Toolbox. Oh,
Not
toolbox.
stools, but tools to
Tools.
be able to
Okay.
build things.
All right.
I would like a limited supply of coconuts.
Okay. I think you can pick it out from the coconut tree.
Yeah, yeah, coconut juice. I love it. Yeah,
Yeah.
um, and I would like to have a pair of binoculars.
Ah, for you to sense emergency, for
If
any
I can
yeah.
see, I can see what's coming. Yeah,
All right, that's some interesting answers, Andy. I'm sure
uh,
our
uh,
audience
I'm
would
not sure
want.
they're the greatest answers in the world, but there you go.
I think it is, and I'm sure the audience would want to know the reasoning behind your choice. But I'll let them ask you personally later, right? All right, then, Andy. With that, we have come to an end of today's episode of Table Talk. We hope the audience, the listeners, found the Andy insights as enlightening and inspiring as we have.
absolutely,
Okay,
Amirul. It's been a
Yeah.
pleasure to have Mr. Andy with us, and we are grateful for his valuable contributions. And before we go, a big thank you to Mr. Andy for joining us. Be sure to stay tuned for our next episode where we
Yeah.
will continue to explore fascinating stories and insights
Mhm.
from around Thailand.
Correct. But before we end, Andy, can we also request you to wish a Selamat Hari Raya to those celebrating?
yes,
Selamat. Yeah.
Salam Hari Raya. Is that
All
right?
right. Yes, that's exactly right. You pronounce it perfectly. Selamat
Okay,
Hari Raya.
all right.
So maybe I'll send some Kueh Raya to you later, Andy.
Okay, that will be super.
All right, that's great. So until next time, take care, stay safe, and may your journey be filled with growth and success. This is Amirul.
And Idina signing off from Table Talk. Assalamualaikum and goodbye everyone.
Bye. Goodbye,
Okay,
everyone.
goodbye.
Thank you so much for listening.